your hands to get that flexion and rotation in frontal, and exhalation, extension, external rotation. Fluid in, fluid out. You adjust into what strengthens the system. Good? Yeah. Excellent. I remember I must have done the series about 4 times before I got that, so you guys are doing good. You guys are doing really good.
Forget it, but I got it. Sounded great.
Yeah. Okay, some frequently asked questions. So what happens when your arm fossa fails? Well, we've just given you something that you can do. You can check your basic 2. You're going to have some sutural involvement. What else can you do? Do your pelvic stretch, okay? The other thing that you can do is just doing your short leg search, getting them to press their legs out against their hands, just kind of gets them to settle on the blocks a little bit. So you can do that once and then recheck your fossa. What to do if your short leg gets shorter? Take your blocks out, put them back in. You've probably got your blocks wrong. What to do if that continually happens? Take them out, take the blocks out, do a basic 2, and get them up and walk them around, and then get them back and start again from the start, okay? You might have got something wrong with the blocking, you might have missed some pre-blocking, but what you want to do is you don't want to mess your practice member up. So take them off the blocks. You can do a basic 2, all right, and that's going to just help to rebalance the sutural system with introducing the blocks, and then get them walking around and then start again. What do you do if your fossa doesn't match your leg length? Again, you've probably missed something, and the most important thing that you may have missed will have been upper cervical involvement, a cervical major. So go back to the beginning and check for your cervical major indicators. Do any of the other table educators have any other answers for those questions? Within what we teach here, I know there's like a plethora of them. So, yeah, come and do TMJ and then you'll know more. Yeah. The other thing is that, yeah, there could be some TMJ involvement as well.
It's rare.
Sorry?
Not TMJ, it's rare, it keeps failing.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, do this well, and you're going to have an awesome practice because, you know, you may not have necessarily had something within your toolbox up until this point that dealt with a hypermobile sacroiliac joint. And that's what a category 2 is. Unilateral hypermobility of the sacroiliac joint. It's moving too much. Our healing time. Healing time takes around about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, so we address it like we would any other sprain type injury. Okay, it's around about 6 to 8 weeks. What does your scheduling look like in that time? In an ideal world, you'd be seeing this practice member about every 3 days while they're in that healing phase, healing category 2, just to make sure that they're not re-separating their SI. Again, you might have taken x-rays initially, so you'll have a better understanding of the biomechanics of their SI joint, but you know, you may not. I can't do that in my practice. You know, people are lucky if they get in once a week with me, but I still tend to get some good results. And we utilise other things as well, so our ancillary techniques. So 6 weeks healing time. Each visit, you're going to recheck your fossa. We're going to I'm going to go over these ancillary techniques, your short leg, long leg, but you're going to recheck for your short leg and long leg, because that may change. When someone goes from an active category 2 into a healing category 2, their pattern can change. So they're not active, as in you're not having to place the blocks, but they're still in that 6 to 8 weeks healing time. So that's what we call, okay? We're going to keep doing our pre-blocking procedures every time. We will go over trapezius fibres. We're going to do that today. And we do no category 1 blocking while they're in a healing category 2. In 6 weeks, since you've put the blocks in for a category 2, no category 1. Don't do it. Okay? Even if you get all of your category 1 indicators and you go, oh, it's category 1, oh, it's there, it's so there, don't block it. Don't block it because you will mess them up. You will make them worse. Home care, what can we do at home? This is where Dejanette talked a lot about cryotherapy, so actually icing over the sacroiliac joint, and people get phenomenal symptomatic relief from that. The other thing is that what I explain to my practice members when I block them category 2 for the first time, and this might have been in like their first 1 or 2 visits, is I say, what we've done is we've addressed, I discuss with them about the 2 parts of the sacroiliac joint, the bit that moves and then the bit that holds us up against gravity, and at some stage you've separated that part. What we've just done with the adjustment is we've asked your body to close that joint up again. So you've had some inflammatory processes going on in that joint, and I've just asked that joint to close up. That might be a little bit sore, so you might get some tenderness right there. And be quite specific, point to the SI joint, because they often can get tenderness in the SI joint after you've adjusted it. Ice it. Talk to them about how you would talk to them about any sort of sprain type injury. Have that dialogue. Wall sits. So again, what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to engage the lower core. So when we get someone to do a wall sit, really talk them through this in your office. So the first thing I get people to do with a wall sit is lean against the wall, and I want them to press their spine against the wall. What that's doing is that's putting them in a pelvic neutral. Because before that point, people will come up to the wall and their butt will go against the wall, and their shoulder blades will go against the wall, and their lumbar spine comes off it, and they're going into that anterior pelvic tilt. And then they try and do a wall sit like that, and their pelvic floor falls out the bottom. Really not good. So we want to engage the pelvic floor by getting that pelvic tilt. You've heard the bucket analogy with the pelvis. So our pelvis is like a bucket. If we've got anterior pelvic tilt, the water's going to spill out. If we've got too much posterior pelvic tilt, the water's going to spill out. So we want it in a pelvic neutral. So we get that pelvic neutral in a wall sit by getting them to press their lumbar spine against the wall. Put your hand there. Get them to really engage that core, okay? And initially, your category 2 practice member might not necessarily get further than that. That might be their wall sit. Cool, watch Netflix while you're doing your wall sit, okay? Make it, easy for them to do this. Eventually, you're going to get your category 2 practice member to engage their lower core enough that they can stay in this position for 3 minutes, ideally. Okay? Head against the wall, chin tucked, back against the wall, press your spine against the wall. They will feel their pelvic floor lifting. What I want you to do is test this in practice so they're doing it right. Put your fingers here around transverse abdominis and make sure they're engaging that. Because if they're not engaging that, they're not actually effectively doing a wall sit. Tennis ball between the knees. This is a very basic one. So your patient's lying supine and they're squeezing a tennis ball between the knees. Again, this is getting a bit of pelvic neutral, and we're starting to strengthen our adductors, and we're starting to pull up on the pelvic floor. So that's where someone's lying on their back, they've got their knees bent, they've got a tennis ball between their knees, and they squeeze the tennis ball. And again, that's activating pelvic floor. Again, you can do this in practice on the table and ask them, test, see if they're actually flexing